Hi, everyone, and welcome. I'm Leslie Vosshall, Vice President and Chief Scientific Officer at HHMI. We are so excited that over 1,800 of you from hundreds of institutions across the U.S. are interested in learning more about how HHMI supports you, our early career scientists. In just a few months, we're going to open up competitions for 3 of our amazing programs: the Gilliam Fellows Program for PhD students and their mentors, the Hanna Fellows Program for senior postdocs, and the Freeman Hrabowski Scholars Program for early career faculty. All 3 programs are aimed at supporting bold and creative scientists who are also deeply committed to inclusive excellence. HHMI is different from other opportunities that support scientists. We support people, not projects. What does that mean? When you apply, you won't be filling out a typical grant application. We look carefully at your bold scientific vision, the big questions that keep you up at night, and how you think about inclusion, mentoring, and lab leadership. And we evaluate every application holistically. It doesn't matter what institution you're from or what journals you publish in. Fun fact, our applications do not allow journal names at all because we really want to focus just on the science and not where it is published. Once selected, you'll find this to be a transformative opportunity. When I was selected as an HHMI investigator in 2008, it allowed me to completely change my research program from flies to mosquitoes and ask questions that I would have never been able to ask with conventional funding. It truly changed my life to join the HHMI community. The other thing that sets HHMI apart is the strong cohorts that we build. When you are selected as a Gilliam or Hanna Fellow or a Freeman Hrabowski Scholar, you will progress through your career with a tightly bonded group of peers who will support you while you're in our programs and beyond. You'll become part of the multi-generational HHMI scientific community with opportunities to interact with scientists across disciplines and career stages. And HHMI provides more than research support. We also offer incredibly effective professional development opportunities to help you become an inclusive lab leader. In my role at HHMI, I got a front row seat to watch curious and passionate people join this community and do science they couldn't have imagined doing otherwise. I really hope that you will apply. Now, let's hear from HHMI's president, Erin O'Shea, in a short video, and then our program leads will take to the stage right here in this beautiful living room to walk you through each program, the application process, and answer your questions.
HHMI was founded in 1953 by aviation pioneer Howard Hughes, with the goal of advancing basic biomedical research and supporting science education for the benefit of all people. For over 70 years, we have held fast to that mission. Today, HHMI is the largest private biomedical research organization in the United States and supports leading scientists at academic research institutions across the country and at our Genelia Research Campus. We are guided in our work by a philosophy of people, not projects. We believe that the best science stems from the creativity, curiosity, and intellectual courage of individual scientists empowered to pursue their boldest ideas. HHMI scientists have made discoveries that have revolutionized our understanding of our world and led to some of the most important scientific and medical breakthroughs of the past century. They have also developed tools and techniques that have accelerated scientific exploration for researchers around the globe. And we will continue to move science forward with AI at HHMI, a 10-year, $500 million investment in AI-driven discovery in the life sciences. But the future of science will not be determined by technological advances alone. It will be shaped, as it always has, by people. To make possible the next generation of biomedical discoveries, we know we must open the doors of science wider for future researchers of all backgrounds. At HHMI, we are providing novel, hands-on research experiences to college students, delivering educational resources to biology instructors around the country, creating science films and implementing other public engagement initiatives that reach millions, and supporting talented scientists across career stages. We are only able to do this thanks to the employees across every part of our institute who have dedicated themselves to this work. Together, we are pursuing our shared mission of advancing science and building a better world.
Hello, everyone. I'm Adrielle Munger, Senior Science Program Coordinator at HHMI. Joining me today are Josh Hall, who leads the Gilliam Fellows Program, and Angela DePace and Jose Faraldo-Gomez, who together co-lead the Hanna Fellows and Freeman Hrabowski Scholars Programs. Josh, Angela, Jose, welcome. Here's what we're going to do. Our leads will walk us through their programs and the upcoming competitions. After that, we'll open the floor up for live Q&A. Now, many of you have submitted questions ahead of time, but we encourage everyone to feel free to share additional questions through the Q&A panel in Zoom. Let me turn it over to Josh to tell us about the Gilliam Fellows Program. But before we do that, I'd like you to meet one of our fellows, Axel Vera.
My name is Axel Vera. I am a PhD student in chemistry at MIT and the Broad Institute. I am a magician, and I am a Gilliam Fellow at HHMI. I work in the field of genome editing. Essentially, the field uses a protein called CRISPR-Cas9 that is a complex between a protein right here in blue and an RNA molecule in orange. Together, this complex targets DNA and allows us to essentially cure genetic diseases. My specific contribution to the field focuses on a secondary protein called an anti-CRISPR. And we invented an anti-CRISPR protein that rapidly enters cells and turns off the activity of a CRISPR-Cas9 protein. And this would allow us to prevent unwanted side effects, but allow the therapeutic effect. And to represent my research, the anti-CRISPR protein, which is what I focus on, is usually in the outside of the cell, which will be represented by my left hand. And then in the inside of the cell, we have the Cas9 protein. And the invention that my collaborators and I have established allows the anti-CRISPR to go from the outside of the cell into the inside of the cell, where it can now bind to the CRISPR protein and inhibit its activity.
That was very cool. Do you need to reset for...
Yes, and I don't mind you all becoming aware of the magic. It's fine.
That was awesome.
Thanks, Adrielle. That was Axel Vera, one of our many incredible Gilliam Fellows. He is passionate about science and shows it in a way that is uniquely and authentically him, which is something we love about all of our Gilliam Fellows. So I'm going to talk to you now about an incredible opportunity for PhD students. For more than 2 decades, the Gilliam Fellows Program has supported exceptional PhD students in the biological and biomedical sciences. I have been proud to lead the Gilliam Program for the past 5 years and get to know and support hundreds of inspiring fellows who have become leaders in science in a variety of ways. I love helping students realize their career dreams, and there is nothing better for me than welcoming new fellows into our community. This year, Gilliam is changing in ways that I am so excited to tell you about. So what are we looking for? We are looking for PhD students who are creative thinkers, love science, love doing research, and are excited by answering big, bold questions. Quite simply, we're looking for PhD students who will become the next generation of inclusive scientific leaders. Now, that last part is really important and what sets Gilliam apart. We are looking for graduate students and also their PhD advisors who not only do excellent science, but care about how science is done and have a genuine demonstrated investment in advancing both excellence and inclusion in science. So, what does the Gilliam Fellowship offer? Fellows receive $65,000 of support per year for up to 3 years. That includes a $50,000 stipend, $5,000 for your own professional development, and $10,000 to help offset tuition and fees. Now, what's cool is both you and your advisor receive tailored professional development throughout the fellowship. Your advisors will participate in a year-long HHMI mentorship development course that's specifically for them, that's designed to strengthen their skills as mentors and help them build healthy, inclusive lab cultures that support the success of not only you, but everyone in their lab. Now, something that is brand new and incredibly exciting is that now Gilliam is not just about the PhD years. Fellows who complete their PhD and want to continue pursuing becoming independent researchers by doing a postdoc can apply for 4 additional years of postdoctoral support through the Gilliam program. We think this is going to set up Gilliam Fellows who want to become future independent lab leaders for success by continuing this generous and stable support from HHMI beyond graduate school and into the next step of their training. With the addition of this new postdoc phase of Gilliam, fellows could be supported for up to 7 years of their training. So why are we doing all this? Well, we're doing it because we want to give you the kind of long-term support that it takes to realize your goal of being a future scientific leader. I've talked a little bit about the financial and professional support that you'll receive as a Gilliam Fellow, but I would be remiss not to mention what past and current fellows say time and time again is the most important and impactful part of being a Gilliam Fellow. It's not the money, although of course that's nice, but instead it's the strong and supportive community. As a Gilliam Fellow, you're plugged into a network of friends and peers across the country who are just as passionate as you are about science and about building a healthy and inclusive scientific future. On top of that, and as part of the program, you'll join a multi-generational community of scholars that includes undergraduate researchers from our Czech Fellows Program, Hanna postdocs, early career faculty who are Freeman Hrabowski scholars, and of course our esteemed HHMI investigators. You will interact with all of them during HHMI science meetings that you will attend during your time as a Gilliam Fellow. All right, so who can apply and how do you do it? Well, the Gilliam application launches soon on September 1st and is open to second and third year PhD students who are doing research in the biological or the biomedical sciences who have at least 2 full years of study remaining. New this year, the program is also open to PhD students in dual degree programs, including the MD-PhD. We heard from many of you with questions about eligibility as it pertains to citizenship. U.S. citizens, permanent residents, international, and non-citizen students who are studying as PhD students at any HHMI-eligible institution in the United States or U.S. territory can apply. There are over 300 HHMI-eligible institutions, and you can find a list linked from the Gilliam webpage and in the Gilliam applicant guide. Now, to apply for Gilliam, you apply together with your PhD advisor, and the program supports both of you as a pair. As the student applicant, you'll provide some basic info about your educational history and an overview of your PhD research that's written to be understood by a scientist outside your field. So you want to try to minimize jargon as much as you can and clearly state your research objectives and your approach. You'll also respond to a series of short essay prompts that tell us a little bit about you and your potential as a future inclusive leader. Your advisor will provide a letter of support for you, as well as some information about their own training history, their approach to mentoring, and their mentorship plan for you. Also, they'll tell us about their own commitment and efforts towards fostering healthy and inclusive research environments. Lastly, you'll identify a reference besides your advisor, someone like a past research mentor who will provide a letter of support on your behalf. Now, this is just an overview, and I encourage all of you to check out the applicant guide on the Gilliam webpage for more details and about all of the application components. As I mentioned, the Gilliam application opens on September 1st and closes October 27th, 2026. For those of you who are selected, the award term begins on September 1st, 2027, and we hope to select 80 fellows, the most in the 20-year history of the program. And this represents a huge investment into phenomenal PhD students who will lead the future of science. I am so fortunate to work with our amazing Gilliam Fellows and our wonderful Gilliam Fellows Program team here at HHMI, and I'm so looking forward to seeing your applications and getting the chance to meet some of you. There are many more things that I could say about this program, but I think Julian will do a much better job.
Hi everybody, my name is Julian Torres Rodriguez. I am from the University of Puerto Rico in Rio Piedras, and that's all right. Sorry. The focus of my research is regeneration. So I study this crazy animal known as sea cucumber, which is family of the sea star as well, and it has amazing regenerative capabilities. So we are trying to understand how they regenerate to hopefully translate all that information for us. I'm trying to identify the genes that might be driving this process or inhibiting the process as well. So this is where I cry, sorry. My grandmother, she passed away last December, and we were participating in scientific fair since I was in 7th grade. And all of this came to my life because my grandfather suffers from Alzheimer's. So the reality of neurodegenerative diseases was something in my life. So I wanted to know more, and that's how I entered science field. The Gilliam Fellows for me is like this transformative experience. It's like a huge community which is very supportive and welcoming, and this is a place where you can be yourself and embrace science, curiosity, and nobody is judging you for making silly questions, nothing like that. If you are on the fence about applying to the Gilliam Fellow, hear me out. Do this. Don't miss the opportunity. You are more than capable of doing this. Do it well, and don't do it alone. This will be an amazing opportunity for you, so don't miss it. Capiche?
Thanks, Josh. And so now let's talk about the community. I have to add that I'm also a proud member of the Gilliam team. I love supporting the fellows. It's such a special community to work with. Now we'll turn to 2 programs that support researchers at the next career stages, postdocs and early career faculty. Angela and Jose, take it away.
Thanks, Adrielle. Jose and I co-lead 2 programs that are offered together as a single joint competition. The Freeman Hrabowski Scholars Program for faculty in the early years of their first independent faculty position, and the Hanna Fellows Program for postdoctoral scientists on their way to leading their own labs. Before we tell you about them, we'd like you to meet one of our Freeman Hrabowski scholars.
This is a watch that was my father's. It's a big inspiration for me because my dad's always been one of my heroes. My name is Lucas Cheadle. I'm a Freeman Hrabowski Scholar at Howard Hughes Medical Institute, and I'm an Associate Professor of Neuroscience at Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory in Long Island, New York. I'm from rural Oklahoma, so extremely rural environment. We're Chickasaw, and my father had such a commitment to the service of the tribe that he spent his life working as the legislative attorney of the Chickasaw Nation. And it's that idea of being in service to others, not just focusing on yourself and where you want to go, but caring about your community and caring about the people around you, that has really inspired me to be an inclusive lab leader. My lab is really fascinated by the mechanisms that underlie the ability of a handful of immature cells to grow into the most complex network in the known universe. What I hope my science will ultimately mean to people is not just how interesting biology can be, but also how we can harness basic science to improve health in general. The Freeman Hrabowski Scholars Program is such an innovative program. It's not just funding for your lab, it's a community, it's inclusive lab leadership training. It's working one-on-one with coaches and with people who can advise you. It's not just about excellent science, it's about excellent science done in a way that makes room for everyone to feel empowered to contribute.
That was Lucas Cheadle. I love hearing fellows and scholars talk about their research and their lives and their motivation for leading a lab. I love their enthusiasm and dedication and vision. That's what we're looking for, and it's different for every applicant.
These programs are built to identify and support future scientific leaders, wherever they work or study, and to that end, we will evaluate the applicant's science and leadership potential side by side. We're looking for scientists who have a transformative, ambitious research vision, backed by a strong record of high-quality published work. But similarly to the Gilliam program, we are also looking for scientists who have a demonstrated commitment to mentoring and to building healthy, inclusive labs. Now, what's new this year is that the programs are united in a combined competition, and we will be evaluating applicants for these two programs at the same time. Early career faculty who are in tenure-track positions apply to become Freeman Hrabowski Scholars. Senior postdocs who are ready to transition to independence and to start their own labs apply to become Hanna Fellows. These are distinct evaluations. They are not in competition with each other, but the two programs are connected. When Hanna Fellows get their first tenure-track faculty position, they become Freeman Hrabowski Scholars and continue to be supported by HHMI.
These programs offer generous, long-term support, which is critical for doing creative, transformative science. So let me start with the Freeman Hrabowski Scholars Program. If you are selected for this program, you become an HHMI employee, which means you receive full salary and benefits. You also receive $500,000 per year in research funding during the first 5-year term and flexible support for buying research equipment. Research support rises to $600,000 per year if you're renewed for a second 5-year term. This all adds up to $10 million over 10 years, a real investment in each scholar, their research, and everyone in their lab. Hanna Fellows will receive generous salary or stipend support, plus $50,000 per year in research support. And fellows have incredible flexibility. You can continue your research at your current institution, or with HHMI's approval, move to a different institution in the US or abroad to gain additional training. The fellowship runs up to 2 years, while fellows are in the final stages of building their independent research program and finding their first faculty position. There's a progress evaluation after the first year to make sure all fellows are on track and will be successful in the next stage of their career. We also offer tailored individual support for fellows throughout the faculty search process. It's a real joy to help people with this critical transition from doing research at the scale they can every day with their own hands to expanding their scientific vision and learning to lead a research group who will make discoveries together.
Many of the questions we received in advance of today's event were about eligibility, so we wanted to make sure we cover the most common questions. All right, so both programs require that you hold a PhD and/or an MD degree, and that you be at an HHMI eligible institution. Very importantly, you must commit to dedicate 80% of your professional time to your primary research, which must be focused in the basic biological and biomedical sciences. And if you are a foreign national like myself, you're welcome to apply, but you need to be authorized to work in the US. To be eligible for the Freeman Hrabowski Scholars Program, you must have less than 7 years of experience as an independent faculty at the time the application closes. That is, you must have started your first tenure-track position on or after December 15, 2019. You are also eligible if you do not yet have a lab, but have accepted a faculty offer and are scheduled to start your own lab no later than May 1st, 2028. For the Hanna Fellows Program, The only limit is that you have at most 7 years of postdoctoral training experience by the time the application closes. However, keep in mind that if you're selected, you will be expected to start your first faculty position by May 1st, 2030, or else you will not be eligible to become a Freeman Hrabowski Scholar. If you're a physician scientist in clinical training, you are eligible to apply. However, by May 1st, 2028, you must have transitioned to a mentor postdoctoral research position, having completed all your clinical training. Finally, keep in mind that there are no limits on reapplying. If you aren't selected this year, for whatever reason, you can come back in 2 years' time and try again.
Applications for this program are different from applying for an NIH grant or other positions. We don't want to know about a specific project. We want you to tell us a story about who you are as a scientist, your accomplishments, and your ambitions. So here's what we require. First, a description of your research program. This is a broad statement, not a specific aims page. As Leslie said, we are looking at people, not projects. We want to know where you are now, where you are going, and how you will get there. And why is your work important? How will the field change as a result of your science? This should be written for scientists who may not be experts in your field. We'll also ask a set of questions about your leadership experiences, because running a lab isn't only about having visionary ideas for experiments and analyses and new tools. It's also about leading and mentoring people, helping others to achieve their goals in the context of a research group that also has shared goals and your goals. And it's not easy, but it's a critical part of how science is done. And so there are questions to help you think about mentoring, lab culture, and building inclusive scientific environments. We'll ask you for a bibliography, and this is a full list of your primary research articles, preprints included. You will not put journal names anywhere. Don't do it, like for real. No journal names. We want to see your science, not the journal. We'll ask you for short descriptions of a few significant articles. And depending on your career stage, we'll ask you to describe the impact and importance of 3 to 5 of your primary research articles. We want these descriptions in your own words, not the abstract of the article. We want to know what was important about this particular piece of research. Applicants who are faculty now or who have accepted a position, you'll need to share a copy of your offer letter. And postdocs will provide a career development plan, and your mentors will fill out a brief questionnaire focused on what you need to do to get ready to lead an independent lab. And that's it. So together, these application materials will help us learn about multiple aspects of every applicant, about you, your research, your leadership, and your trajectory.
The application window opens on November 3rd, 2026, and closes 6 weeks later on December 15th. Once you've submitted your application, there is a 3-stage evaluation process. First, our team does an initial review of all applications and selects those that will be reviewed by scientific experts. After expert review, semifinalists are selected and notified in August of 2027. Semifinalists will be asked to do a virtual interview focused on lab leadership sometime in the fall of 2027. We will then select a group of finalists and notify them in November 2027. Finalists will be asked to do a second virtual interview, now focused on the research, sometime in January 2028. Final selections will be announced in February 2028, with appointments beginning that May. Angela and I are psyched, extremely excited about these 2 programs. The reason is that they are designed to support scientists across the 2 most important and critical transition points in their careers, from postdoc to independent faculty and from tenure track to tenure faculty. We cannot wait to read your applications and know about you.
Thank you both. And while I work most closely with the Gilliam community, the Hanna Gray and Freeman Hrabowski communities are just as close-knit. I've heard that Slack channel is very lit. It's very active. So now we're at the fun part. We have about 30 minutes for Q&A. If you have a question, submit it now through the Q&A panel at the bottom of your Zoom window. We'll start with a few questions that came in ahead of time, then alternate with what's coming in live. Let's kick things off with one of our most common questions we received, and this one's for Josh. Josh, what is the ideal HHMI candidate?
Well, that's a great question, and that's a great place to start. So I think one of the things that we covered multiple times today so far is this HHMI ethos of people, not projects. And so we really want to know for each and every applicant who they are. And importantly, we want to identify people who are really passionate about science. They're really excited about research and pursuing these big, bold ideas that we discussed. But it doesn't end there. We really are interested, and our ideal candidate would also be someone who is dialed into supporting and developing these healthy and inclusive lab and research cultures as well. And it really is this combination of passion for science and passion for the way science is done.
Thanks. Now, Angela and Jose, you can weigh in on the same question. Does that track for your candidates?
So much, 100%.
Yeah, it's absolutely true.
Awesome. Okay, so this next question is for Jose.
Oh, okay.
What research areas are specifically supported for these programs?
Well, so HHMI supports a wide array of disciplines in science, from biochemistry and molecular biology to genetics and neuroscience, cancer biology. On our website, hhmi.org, you have a comprehensive list, so you can look that up. Now, in each one of these areas, what we're looking for is mechanistic research, which means different things in different areas, but that is the common denominator. So research that is purely descriptive or observational, for the most part, what we recognize as important is not something that we're looking for. So think about that, mechanism in each one of these disciplines.
Okay, great. And if you missed that, you can go to the website. That list is on there.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, Adrielle, I just want to add that there's a lot of information on the website, and a lot of the questions that we got can be answered by the FAQs or the applicant guides, which are now publicly posted on the website for all 3 programs. So we just wanted to really emphasize for folks to go ahead and dig in and take a look, but also to emphasize that if your question isn't answered, there's contact information for all programs there as well. And you can absolutely email us. We are the ones who will answer your questions, and every question gets answered. So, so take a look at all that material. But if the answer to your question isn't there, send us a note.
Okay, great. Okay, so this is one, we had a few variations of this question, so we kind of consolidated it, and I'm going to pitch it to Angela. Can you provide more insight on how to approach the narrative essays?
Yeah, so these narrative essays are an opportunity for you to tell us about things that we can't learn from your CV or from your research articles, from the other parts of your application. The narrative statements are really designed for you to share specific experiences from your own life in science, in your community, in other relevant parts of your own experience. What was the experience? What was your role in it? What did you learn from it? And how are you taking what you've learned and applying it now in your work? And how might you apply it in the future? So really, it's an opportunity for you to help us understand who you are in a way that we wouldn't be able to learn otherwise.
Okay, thanks. And Josh, I know the Gilliam application also has narrative essays. Is what Angela say tracks for?
Yeah, absolutely. What Angela said is true for the Gilliam competition as well. These essays are the opportunity for us to get to know a little bit more about who you are and what motivates you. And so they're absolutely important. And the best advice that I could give for all of them is being authentically you and just, being authentic and letting us know who you are.
Yeah,
Okay, great.
Absolutely.
Okay, this one's for Josh, and I feel like this is a really good one. We get this a lot. What component of the application has more weight for a successful application?
All of them. No. So that actually is a really great question to think about in the context of the Gilliam competition, because as I mentioned, applying for Gilliam, it's a partnership between, and really a collaboration between you as the student applicant, but also your PhD advisor. And we really do take all of those components of the application really seriously. So as the student, we are looking for, as I mentioned, your passion for science. We're looking for excellence in science and also interest in pursuing those big, bold questions like we've talked about. But also for your advisor, we're looking for a little bit of information about them as a mentor and intentionality around how they will mentor you as a graduate student, but how they approach mentoring in general for their lab. And I think a really strong application is not actually two independent pieces, but where what you say as the student applicant and how your advisor describes their mentoring of you, it really integrates well together in a way that makes sense.
Thank you. Well, I don't want to let you off the hook. I have a question for you, Jose.
Oh, okay.
If you could tell every potential applicant just one thing, what would it be?
Okay. Good question. I would say just be authentic, be yourself. Don't overthink what we want to hear. Just think about your own trajectory, your own plans, your own dreams, your own vision, and try to convey this in a way that we can appreciate it. That would be my advice: is be true to yourself, because most likely that's going to be the best version of yourself.
That's really good advice. Yeah. Angela, why is mentorship such a central piece of what HHMI looks for?
I love this question. Okay, so why do we care so much about mentoring? There are really two reasons. The first one is that when you move from doing experiments yourself to leading a lab, the effect is catalytic, right? So when the people in your lab are thriving and successful, they are producing incredible scientific work, and then they are also going on to lead their own labs as in the future or other parts of the scientific ecosystem. So it just grows and grows, right? So it's the kind of environment that you foster as a lab leader has the potential to have such a profound impact long beyond the time you're investing in people and far beyond the moment when they're with you. Okay? So that's the first piece, is that it's catalytic. The second piece is about the fact that when you are an effective and inclusive lab leader, people from all different kinds of backgrounds and perspectives inside your group bring their best work forward. They ask different kinds of questions. They ask different kinds of, they bring different kinds of research priorities. They ask questions in different ways. They approach problems in different ways. And all of that diversity of perspective and approach and priorities and values in science is the creative catalytic engine for science. So it's incredibly important that lab leaders are able to create environments where everyone can show up and bring the best of what they have to offer. So it's really those two pieces, the sort of long-ranging impact of the number of people that can come out of your lab when they're really enthusiastic and thriving and doing well, and also what happens in a really collaborative, inclusive, creative group when a leader sets the right culture.
Awesome.
Yeah, I wanted to add to that beyond mentorship being something that we are looking for in you as an applicant, we also recognize that mentorship it's one of those things that you never really perfect it. We're always on this journey of growth and improving our own mentorship. And so once fellows and scholars enter our programs, we spend a lot of time and investment really investing in you in your continued development as a mentor, whether you already are a lab head running your own lab for years, or even I know Adrielle and I were doing some work planning for a gathering of Gilliam Fellows who are graduate students, and we're talking about ways we can start to engage our Gilliam Fellows even in their own journey in becoming mentors themselves. So becoming an HHMI fellow or scholar, we're really looking for that openness that you recognize the importance of mentorship, and we will continue to invest in you on that journey.
Oh gosh, we love this. I'm going to pipe in again. Because part of being a good leader is growing, right? And recognizing that there's always more to learn.
Yeah.
Always.
Those are wonderful answers. Thank you. Okay, I have one for both Angela and Jose. What is evaluated during interviews? An interview piece.
I'll take it.
I'll go first, you go second.
Okay.
Okay. So there are two sets of interviews in these combined programs. So there's a semifinalist stage interview where semifinalists are invited to meet with us virtually and discuss various aspects of lab leadership. So this is a chance for us to explore those topics in more depth with all the semifinalists.
And then the second interview is focused on your research plans. You will meet with a panel of experts, and you will have a great time. It will be a captive audience. Everyone will be focused on you. You will be able to discuss everything that excites you and everything that you dream about as a scientist.
No pressure.
And that's for finalists.
That's for the finalists.
And that's for the finalists. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. So how should an applicant approach choosing letter writers? And that's for Josh.
Sure. So approaching letter writers. So I'll speak to the Gilliam competition where, as a student, you're going to have two people who, as part of your application, are going to provide a letter of support for you. One of them is obviously your PhD advisor. But beyond that, you're going to have to select a second reference who's going to write a letter on your behalf to support your application. And we recommend that that's someone who's really familiar with you as a researcher. And so that could be, as I mentioned, maybe a former research mentor, maybe a lab you worked in before graduate school, or maybe in your case, maybe you're co-mentored or you have a close collaboration with another lab in graduate school. It could be a faculty member or an advisor that you work with in that capacity. But my recommendation would really be for that letter writer that it's someone who's really you've worked closely with, that's familiar with you and your potential as a researcher.
Okay, thank you. We just got some hot off the press questions.
Oh, okay.
And so these are really fun, really juicy. And I'll open this up to whoever wants to answer first. If I'm not first author, can I still list papers as primary research articles on the application? I think, Josh, you want to?
Actually, I'll let you.
Yeah, I think
answer
that's
that
a
one,
Hanna
Angela. I
Gray
think that might
FHS.
work
That's a
for you.
Hanna Gray question?
Yeah.
All right.
So yes and no. So in the application, you will see that, like Angela mentioned, we ask you to provide your full bibliography, all the work that you have published. And that includes, in this case, articles in which you're not the first author. That's no problem. However, you will also be asked to highlight a certain number of articles. Depends on your career stage, between 3 and 5. Now, those must be articles in which you are either first or co-first or corresponding or co-corresponding author. So, we will definitely look at that, but that's the caveat.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Yes, I think so.
It makes sense to me.
And I will say for the Gilliam competition, since you're a PhD student, an earlier career PhD student who's applying, we recognize that you maybe haven't had the opportunity to have authorship on a paper yet, or at least maybe you're not a primary author on a research article yet. And so in those cases, for sure, there's a place on the application you can provide up to 5 of your contributions to science. Those could be research articles if you've happened to have authorship on a paper. But even if you haven't, we provide a little more openness to multiple ways that you might have had contributions to science that are appropriate for being a second or third year PhD student.
Thank you. So I know this one is applicable to Gilliam, but it might also be for Hanna Gray and Freeman Hrabowski. But what happens to multiple applicants from the same lab?
Yeah, that's a great question. So first of all, that is okay, right? So if there are multiple graduate students who are in a lab that are eligible to apply and want to apply for the Gilliam program, we absolutely would encourage any and all to apply. What's important is that each of you will need a complete application, including sort of complete independent and unique advisor portions of the application. So if it's the same advisor for multiple graduate students, then the advisor would need to think intentionally about their specific mentorship plan for each individual student. But we absolutely would encourage, if there are multiple students who are eligible from the same lab, to apply.
Yeah, and for Hanna Gray, Freeman, Hrabowski, exactly the same thing. We will definitely consider applications from the same lab. Even maybe early career faculty and a postdoctoral trainee can both apply for the different elements of the program. It's absolutely no problem.
That's great news. It means applicants from the same lab don't have to duke it out.
No,
They don't. We want to avoid that.
Yeah. Yeah, I would think so too. How in-depth does an applicant need to be to describe their contributions to science on the application? So, Josh, I think you can handle that one.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, for the Gilliam application, we do have a component where students can describe their contributions to science so far in their career. There is space there to not only tell us about what the contribution is, but give us a little bit of insight into why you consider that a contribution to science. So for Gilliam, that could be a research article where you could tell us a little bit about sort of at what career stage is that article from? Was it from your time as an undergraduate researcher? Maybe you worked as a technician in a lab prior to joining graduate school. But also maybe it's a presentation, a scientific presentation that you did at a conference or something else. Maybe you served or led on a committee that supported science or your department or a science-facing organization, and there's space to tell us a little bit about that and why you consider that one of your important contributions to science so far in your career.
Mm-hmm. Excellent, excellent. So keeping it rolling, Angela, how should we select which publications we submit as a part of our application?
Okay, so as Jose mentioned, there's a bibliography, which is a list of all of your publications, all of your research articles. So that's comprehensive. No choosing, just all of them. Please give us them all. But then there's this subset that you're going to select that's either 3 to 5. And here, this is really up to you to decide which publications, which articles are supporting the story that you're telling us about where you're going, right? So which were really substantive, important pieces of research in your view that maybe they demonstrate the kinds of questions that you really like to ask and how you answer them. Maybe that's a through line of your scientific story. Maybe it's a piece of research that just had a really profound impact on the field, or even beyond your field, where other fields began to look at that and think about what you were doing. There are lots of different ways to think about what the significance is, but it should really tie, first of all, tell us what it is in that description. This is why it's in your own words. It's not just the abstract of the research article, because we want to understand basically the answer to this question. Why did you pick it? Why did you tell us this one? And then think about how it relates to the rest of the story that you're telling us about who you are and where you're going and how you're going to get there.
Thank you. Awesome. This one is also for you. And another fresh off the press.
Okay, I'm ready for it.
If I'm not eligible as a postdoc this round, when is the next time I can apply?
Right. So the combined competition for Hanna Gray Fellows and Freeman Hrabowski Scholars takes more than a year. So the competition is biannual. It runs every other year. So we will have a competition that opens on November 3rd, 2026, and the next one will open in the fall of 2028.
Thank you.
And I think actually to continue that theme, and for completeness, if you're wondering, the Gilliam competition, on the other hand, will be an annual competition. And so we will have a competition that launches this September, and then the next competition will be right around the corner next fall. So if you're a second-year graduate student this fall, you could apply this year, and then also you could apply again next fall as a third-year graduate student.
Yeah, thanks for adding that. That was a really popular question, too. Thank you all. For Josh, how has participation in the Gilliam Fellows Program or other programs influenced career trajectories in academia industry and other scientific fields? That's a
Yeah,
loaded one.
That is a great question. And you know, one of the things that Adrielle and I and the rest of the Gilliam team, one of the things that we love being able to do is really sit in the background and watch our fellows really flourish during their time in the program. And we hear from them all the time the different ways that being part of this community and part of this program have had a positive impact on their careers. You know, a few ways, and I think sometimes this is a little bit hard to quantify, but we hear it reported all the time, is that the Gilliam community is really a place where a lot of our fellows discover their own science identity. They discover the type of scientist that they want to be and how the scientific leader they want to become really aligns with their own interests and skills and values. I think there's also a lot of benefit that our fellows experience being part of this community of support of these other fellows all across the country who are equally passionate about science, but also equally passionate about building this scientific future where everyone can thrive. And I think there's a lot of inspiration that our fellows draw from in being part of that community. I think you heard that from Julian and some of the videos, really from fellows and scholars in all of our programs. The last thing I'll say is there's a lot of benefit that our fellows experience from being part of this community within each individual program, but also among programs. So whether you're a Gilliam Fellow or a Hanna Gray Fellow or a Freeman Hrabowski Scholar, there's opportunity to interact between programs and with HHMI scientists at multiple career stages. And from a Gilliam perspective, we have fellows who maybe they met a Freeman Hrabowski Scholar or an investigator running a lab doing something really cool that they'd never thought about before, and they meet them at an HHMI science meeting. Next thing you know, they're doing a postdoc in this lab, and their research and career has gone in this completely new and exciting direction, and that only happened because of these networks and communities that they find within the programs.
It's so awesome, so amazing. Well, I have a fun one for the panel, so we can go in order, or anybody want to just jump right out. But what do you personally find most rewarding about leading these programs? There's so much going on with all the programs, so many touch points. What touches you the most?
Gosh, can you see we all like took a deep breath?
I did. That was awesome. Well, you could keep thinking about it.
No, I mean,
this is a deep one.
It is deep, I know. Okay, do you want me to go first? Well, all right, I'll go first. What I love most about being part of the early career team in general, because all of us work really closely together, actually, on these early career programs, but really the Hanna Gray Fellows and the Freeman Hrabowski Scholars, is helping people to be the scientist and the leader that they want to be. Helping folks to figure out what is most meaningful to them, because you know, everyone is different. Everyone has different things that motivate them. Everyone has a different way of leading their lab, of supporting their people. They have different kinds of creative processes, right? Like some people are night owls, some people are morning people. You know, everybody needs to find their own way of doing their work and enabling the other people in their lab. And so I love being able to show up for people as they discover that process and support them through it, and watch them enjoy doing science, right? Enjoy showing up every day, enjoy the people in their lab, working through hard things. It's just a real honor to be able to support them, not just financially, because like Josh says, the money is nice, but it's the people part that really means the most to me.
Yeah. For me, I guess it's the opportunity to give back. Meaning when I meet with our fellows, oftentimes, you know, I think about myself when I was in my 20s and you know, back in Spain, and my career changed radically because of an opportunity like this. Someone believed in me. It's unbelievable that they did, but you know, they did, and they gave me a chance to take off, and I took that opportunity, and now I'm here in what's completely improbable trajectory. So for me, this is like closing the circle in some way, because I know that, you know, going back to the question you asked before, the lives of our fellows and scholars is going to change radically as a result of this support, in ways that they cannot imagine at this point or predict. So to be able to be part of that trajectory is, as you said, is a true honor. I gotta say.
Yeah, I agree with all that, and I think it's partially what I alluded to earlier, but it's just so satisfying to meet these fellows when they come into our program, and you can see they're not quite sure of themselves yet, or they haven't sort of figured out the direction they want to go, but really to watch them grow in their sense of self and purpose and identity, and then take off. And you do this long enough, and you have these memories where you remember them when they came in as a second-year graduate student, and then next thing you know, they're opening their own lab, and they're really making huge contributions to science and to the world, quite frankly. And that's just, it's just I'm so thankful to be able to do that work and partner with these fellows and support their careers.
That's awesome. I have to say, personally, one of my guilty pleasures is checking out LinkedIn and seeing what the alumni are up to and what everyone's doing. So it is really impactful. So I think we have time for one more question. And I think I'll pose this to everyone once again. What do you think is the big picture mission behind these fellowships, and why do they matter to HHMI?
Well, I will start, since Gilliam is one of the earlier career programs, and even in this group of programs supporting PhD students. I think science is so important. It's important to solving all of the big problems that we face as people. And to effectively do that, we need all hands on deck. We need ideas that come from everyone. We need ideas that come from everywhere. And every esteemed investigator we have who's a world-renowned scientist or a Nobel Prize winner, they were an undergraduate once. They were a second-year, third-year graduate student themselves once. And as Jose actually said, sometimes if you really think about it, there was an inflection point in each and every one of our careers where someone noticed you, someone believed in you, and maybe gave you an opportunity that these programs will give to many people. And because of that, that starts people on a path that eventually will lead to huge, really important things that really benefit all of humanity. And I think here at HHMI, that's what we hope to do, is support all of these people who are going to be the future difference makers in our world.
I would also add that, the world moves really fast.
True.
Right? And supporting early career scientists is also a way to make sure that science is multi-generational and stays that way, right? So that the learning flows in both directions all the time, every day, right? So we're providing transformative opportunities for early career scientists to, start building their careers. And at the same time, our more established scientists are learning what's coming next, what's important, how is the world changing, how is the culture of science changing, how is, how are our ideas changing and how we work changing, and all these things. So it's important for everybody to be in it together.
Yeah. And then the other dimension is beyond scientific discovery and advancement, of course, is what we refer to as how science is done. Right? So we have been professional scientists here, so we understand how science has been done traditionally, the good and the bad. And we want to foster a particular version of the scientific enterprise that is focused on on inclusivity and openness and spaces where everyone can really thrive. And that is a huge element of all these programs, and we place enormous value and take enormous pride on that aspect. So.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Thanks. Well, thank you everyone for joining, and a big thank you to Josh, Angela, Jose, and Leslie for being here today.
Thank you.
The recording of today's event will be shared later and available on our website. Full program details, eligibility requirements, and key dates are available at hhmi.org/programs. And if you'd like to stay connected as applications open, sign up for our newsletter. The link is in the chat. We'll have more events and opportunities to connect with our leads soon, so stay tuned. And we can't wait to see your applications come in. Thank you guys again.